digital image filings. And basically the fact that the original filings do not cover the full subject matter of the imaging technology, and to wit, one of the omissions, particularly in the claims section of the provisional and the formal filing, it relates to the zooming and panning capability that is inherent in the technology. This has become a topic due to the fact that we are currently in the second phase of filing imaging patent protection, which is driven by the provisionals that were filed later last year, between August and December of last year. So the concern that was expressed by Eliot in reviewing this is this omission of the zooming and panning capability was attributable to a failure, for whatever reason, on the part of Ray Gilla, the patent attorney of record, in constructing and putting together the provisional and the formal filing. Did I say not right, Eliot?
I believe so.
That's your understanding?
Correct.
Okay, the purpose of this meeting is to review the facts, and I think there are two particular points that are important to moving ahead. The first is, given that the findings are what they are, and given what we know about the filing which is scheduled to take place this week on Wednesday, what means do we have to correct the situation? And given whatever correction we apply, what then is the impact or exposure to Iviewit based upon what actions we can take? And then, lastly, what, if any, recourse might Iviewit have vis-a-vis the omissions in the original filings? Are any other issues with that?
Yeah, just correcting back to Ray Joe's work of the formal filing that we filed. Do we have a copy of that?
I do have it.
I don't.
Everything's in the
I've got the provisional.
You should.
And I've got
the formal.
this one?
Yes, that's the
Got
formal.
it. Okay.
I just have one question, and it's, does anybody have, or are we allowed to get the files of Rachel? I haven't. You have all the work that I have.
No, well, not all.
What was purported to be the files?
And he also claimed to us that he destroyed part of his files.
And I have some of his files. I have what was purported to be all of the firm's files.
But they included in
I
that.
have a copy of the file.
Theoretically.
Well, there's a whole history to this because I tried to get complete copies of the files when originally, and found out later that not only did we not send us all the files, he didn't even mention that there was an extra filing out there that we didn't even know about.
This one that's in question.
Yep.
And you don't have it? You have no notes? No data on
I
it?
have the application. I have things that you could get from the U.S. Patent Office, that I could get from the U.S. Patent Office. I have very few notes. I do have some scribbled Rachel notes.
Well,
but I think you gave them me notes.
I gave you, Bill Dick, after yourself, the notes that I have.
And Ray's made disclosure to us that he destroyed the
never heard of a lawyer, other than Nixon.
Starting
anything. The work is ours. My wife said, when we pay for a lawyer and you pay for the work is ours. So the work product is yours. He may maintain copies of his files and everything. Or his confidential notes to himself are not necessarily yours. But the work product is. Would you say that anything germane to the issue it belongs to us? Well, I mean, if you wrote notes, that's not very. Copies. But would reinforce your patent. Obviously, that is germane to the strength of your patent. Yes, you would be entitled to copies. I don't think you disagree. No, I think
he's claiming you may be able to destroy all faxes.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Just so that both of us understand, was this patent done prior to his flying down here, or was this patent done as a result of his flying down here and having the sessions with you? I was under the impression when he flew down here, this is before Brian came, I was under the impression that followed our meeting with Rio 3D.
Yeah.
I was under the impression that he was coming down to discuss, at the very least, the video aspect, and so you could complete that. But were you also completing the imaging patent? So he went to your kitchen.
Right.
Your nook.
We spent days there.
And the two of you spent all the days.
Right.
And did he, in front of you, write notes? And did he then produce them on his computer and type out certain things?
Yeah.
I was under the impression he was doing that with you.
He did.
And did you read those?
I did. Now, going to that same nature, that's the provisional I think we're talking about.
Right.
But he flew over again with me and Brian and went through this as he went to file this. This is a 323-2000 file that also fails to make mention of.
So that's the formal file. The file.
Correct.
Formal.
So Bill also missed the point.
Okay, but I just wanted to know, put things in proportion, when you read the provisionals, because Brian was with the company right now on that, and when there were all those drafts,
Right.
Because obviously we didn't see them.
You saw him review that document. I'd get a document from Ray and bring it to you, so you would have records of everything up to that point, because I don't want to keep them in my house.
The final, but I'm not reviewing the past. I mean, I would keep maintaining it as a...
And you have every record.
Everything you gave me
should be there.
We don't know it should be produced. We don't know anything.
Yeah, no, I know.
I know you don't. You're very thorough. So, I saw the way. So if you gave it to me, it's in our archive.
Correct.
And I wanted to know, when you read those drafts...
Oh, it was...
When you read the drafts, did you see the painting and scanning element?
And tuning up to 1,000 times we thought it was. That was the big, we had that in there. As a matter of fact, he just said it. Somewhere it's in there up to 1,000 times, isn't it? 1,700. Right, that was our old mistaken number of times. So yeah, I mean, this... For him to miss that, Chris, would be the essence of stupidity.
So it was in there. So
absolutely.
It was in the body, but not in the claims.
But a provisional doesn't have claims.
But then in our claims of our claim, it's not there, is what you're representing.
So you're saying this we have to put in the file. But it went out provisional. I could see where he's going to help you with that.
Let's take a look.
What the language of the patent is called.
Okay. Let's see where
And this is a final decision, because I can go back right now and amend those.
Well, we have elements of exposure that creep in.
I'm just talking about the end of the full thing. So you did look it over, and there are no claims in a provisional? There are no claims in a provisional. So you can file them, but they are never examined. But the zooming and the panning and the scanning element was incorporated in that? Go ahead, Ben.
Let me make sure we say that properly. The provisional filing had a claim section, which migrated into the final filing. But that is correct in stating that the provisional does not need a claim section.
Provisional does never get examined, so it doesn't need claims. It just holds your place in line for 1 year.
But
Hold on, I don't understand it. What you're saying now is, assuming any negligence on his part, to that point, the negligence doesn't become realistically damaging to the company, since he actually made a claim, since he actually made a provisional filing, which put that place along.
If the provisional filing covered the invention, your place in line is only as good as the subject matter described in the court.
I'll be allowed to have the painting and doing it.
Yeah, well, the word "doing" is in there, and
It's not really to describe what we're doing.
yeah. But you see what I'm saying? It's only to the amount of subject matter that an attempted where the average person skilled in the art could make and use the invention as it's described in this document. Okay? And without, quote, undue experimentation, without inventing himself. Right. Now, this provision application, you throw it, different patent attorneys do different things with it. On one end of the spectrum, you do an invention disclosure. Most big corporations have the invention disclosure forms, which leads the inventor to write out good disclosures with figures and things. And I think people actually follow that invention disclosure, because if you're coming up upon a bar date, you don't have time to write an application or think about what your invention is. All you got to do is get your on file, and then hope that it will protect, that whatever you had on file covered your invention. Is that what we've done so far? That's not all I answer that, because that's a lot. It's a great question. It's a great area. That's what you hope. That's what you're doing. But on one of the spectrum, you file very minimal work, okay, and that's what we did on some of the applications. Like on the one page. He did say conceptually that his method was to do a broad stroke of it. Right. Well, a broad stroke on drafting. Okay, right. Yeah, that doesn't have provisional at all. Generally, if you want to, you can write the provisional claims just so you know what you're doing, and it's actually used as subject matter. But the claims are never examined. It doesn't matter if they're in proper form or anything. It just sits there. Now, if you pick up the provisional a year later, it has to be within that year. If it's a real well-done application, you just file it. There's no money involved in turning a provisional into a regular filing. Oftentimes, with these one-page disclosures, there's a substantial amount of money involved in taking that from there to there. The problem is you cannot add subject matter to that information later on once it's filed.
And that's really the patent application, correct?
No, the subject matter has to be supported. It has to be described to that text. So maybe you should have filed it. But the zooming element then is not in addition. It's not in addition. You mean you can't have subject matter. So if he did describe zooming, that's not in addition. I'm not clear on what you mean. I don't have additional subject matter after the filing date of an application, or you lose the right to that filing date, the provisional. You can't have subject matter to the provisional. To any patent. But if he did describe the zooming, then the zooming element is not in addition in the formal. Right, if it's supported, if he described it in the original, or you can base claims on it later. And have we said that the zooming is in the provisional?
No, that I can say.
You're the winner. Really, is it another winner's work? Is it in there? Do you have a copy of it?
Yeah, right there. It's in the filing.